time for the Shop Report with
Barbershop Jay.
What up, sports fans? Welcome to the Shop Report. I'm Barbershop Jay. I'll be your host for the day. Here's what's happening. We are live. That's right. I repeat, we are going live today here on the Spreaker.com network. If you're up and around, you're out and about, and you want to give us a shout, the number to call is area code 267-687-0026. The number again is area code 267-687-0026. On the menu today, we have, of course, none other than Dwight Howard is a Laker. Again? And unfortunately for Colts fans and many other fans, in particular those that play fantasy football, Andrew Luck's Luck runs out. And of course, the last installment of our 2019 NFL season preview, the NFC West. But up first, I want to take a gander at something Ken Griffey Jr. said, or heard him say last night on the SVP and Russillo. But joining me on the show today is none other than my man from up north, Joey James, a.k.a. Double J. Tell the people what you say.
I don't know what I did so right. It's just me and you.
Yeah, and I was just getting ready to let the folks out there know that my man, Brother Rich, unfortunately could not be with us today. He is doing some traveling, so he's actually out and about doing some things on his side of town or on the other side of town. But it's just me and you today, so we're going to roll. Now, we got a caller that's called in before we actually started the show. And although I just gave you the rundown of some things that we here want to discuss or the topics that we want to discuss today, this caller, his name is Joe. He wants to discuss the Dallas Cowboys and Jason Witten. So we're going to let Joe have his moment to shine. Joe, are you there?
This is me.
All right. All right.
Guess what? The only note should be the Cowboys and America's team.
Okay, hold on.
And I'll tell you one thing.
Hold on, Joe. Hold on. Got to tell me where you're calling from. We live here now, so I need you to, kind of hear me out here, all right? Where you calling me from?
I'm from the D, and the only D, and that's Detroit, besides my Cowboy fan.
Okay, so wait a minute now, Joe. Help me out now. Hold on here. I'm trying to understand because we got Double J. Double J is also, he's one of my co-hosts. He's also from the D, as in Detroit. Big, long-time Michigan fan. Been a Michigan fan ever since, I think it was Y.A. Tittle. Yeah, I'm just being facetious. No, Bobby.
Yeah, but if he's
Bobby Lane.
Yeah, but if he's a Lions fan, he don't know football.
No, Joe, we don't do that here. No, we don't do that here. It's not so much that he's a Lions fan. He's respecting and representing Detroit, but he's a fan of football first and foremost. And he has himself said things about the Lions that other folks who are Lions fans, fanatics, would not say. So he tells the truth about it. However, I just find it very interesting that you're from Detroit, but you're calling me to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. What's up with that?
You know what? If you would have followed, I'm 50 years old.
And so am I.
I was in the time age of when there was Pittsburgh and the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes.
The Cowboys had the cheerleaders. They had the glamour.
Yes.
And they had the coach, the legendary coach. And
Tom Landry.
That was, oh, yeah. And that was the time to be a Cowboy fan. And that's, they were America's team, and I fell in love with them.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
So
there's nothing wrong with being the Dallas Cowboys being your favorite team and whatnot. I just found it kind of interesting that you're a Dallas Cowboy fan but living in Detroit. But that's fine because there's a lot of folks that live in Cleveland and Steelers fans. But that's because of the Browns being abysmal for forever and a day. But anyway, we're not here to talk about the Browns, not today, especially with Brother Richard not here. Joe, are you driving? Joe, you still there?
Yeah, yep, I'm here.
Okay,
here.
That's a little bit better. Yeah, you have some background noise going on, but that's fine. So let me ask you this, Joe.
Yep.
Okay, you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. Now, you just mentioned the fact that you're 50 years old, right? So am I.
Yeah.
Isn't that something? I remember the Dallas Cowboys, Jim Jeffcoat, Tony Dorsett.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Tall Jones.
Yeah, Too Tall Jones. Yeah,
Ed
Roger
Martin.
Staubach. Yeah.
I mean, we had
Grant Hill's dad,
the
Tony
legends
Hill.
after legends.
Yeah. But you said you wanted to talk about Jason Witten. What is it you want to tell us here, Double J and myself and the listeners? What is it you want to say about Jason Witten? Because you seemed adamant. For somebody to call in before we actually start the show, that's saying something. So go ahead. What do you want to say about Witten?
Well, as I said, Andrew Luck, I mean, he's news, but he's not a legend. And Witten is a legend. He's going to come back to show the fans how a legend comes back and makes us go all the way to the Super Bowl. And that's what the puzzle that we were missing last year. Dak needed Romo on the sideline. I mean, I got to be honest. I mean, the best year was with Romo on the sideline helping him out. But he had Witten there as well. Well, this is going to show you how a team has a true nucleus, like a Tom Brady. Witten is that piece at Dallas. We don't need Zeke. Zeke can check and go somewhere else. Dak, if he should have signed that $30 million.
Yeah, well,
Witten after this year because he's going to make them. And that's what there's great players, but there's players that put all the pieces together. And we should be talking about Witten and how he's going to impact the Dallas Cowboys. And, I mean, Andrew Luck never had that capability.
Well,
to really impact his team, to take them to the next level. Yeah, he got them to AFC Championship, but never to, for all the weapons he's had to the Super Bowl to really, win it twice or go down. I mean, again, when you talk about a player that's going to have that type of impact, you talk about Witten, Tom Brady, Joe Montana.
Yeah, but here's
those guys.
Yeah, but here's the deal, though, Joe. Again, I grew up in that time. I watched Joe Montana. I watched Lawrence Taylor, Charles Haley, and all of those guys. And I even saw Doug Williams when he was with the Bucks in the creamsicle uniforms. So I get where you're going with that. You got to have talent, no question about it. But however, it's more than just having the talent. Now, let's be honest here now, okay? Because I'm a realist. I'm not saying that you're not, but I'm just speaking for myself. I'm a realist. I like Witten, especially when he was in his prime, okay? But let me say this to you about not just Witten, but any other player that's played the NFL. In particular, here lately, Rob Gronkowski, former tight end for the Patriots who just retired, he has some comments as well in regards to this thing. Father Time is undefeated. You know that, and I know that based on our age. What we cannot do at our age some of the things that we could do at 20, okay? That's just the reality of life. You know what I'm saying? We all got an expiration date. I get with Witten's presence being back with the Dallas Cowboys or whatnot, people wanting that to be, the Witten of old, if you would. But unfortunately, Witten is old. Now, I'm not saying that he won't play a factor or have a role or whatnot, but you talk about great tight ends. Heck, Ozzie Newsome was a great tight end for many, many years. Probably one of the best tight ends to ever played at that position in the NFL. But at some point, what goes up must come down, so to speak, all right? So we'll see how much Witten has left in the tank to offer the Dallas Cowboys. But I'll tell you this right here and now. I disagree with you in that the Cowboys don't need Ezekiel Elliott, okay? It's a reason why people do these, I don't in particular, but people do these top 10 or top 5 lists based on position and so on and so forth. And that's because some guys are better than other guys at certain positions. And here, let me say this about Andrew Luck. We haven't gotten to our Andrew Luck segment of the show yet, but we will here. Andrew Luck didn't have the kind of talent around him that Peyton Manning enjoyed at his skill positions. Hold on. The Colts offensive line has been atrocious since Andrew Luck was there. Now, I will admit, when Andrew Luck was on the field, that I was not really an Andrew Luck fan, so to speak, because he threw a lot of interceptions, but then, was given a lot of credit for making the comeback, if you would. And I said, well, wait a minute. comebacks are nice, but you got to look at how you were in that position in the first place to have come back, and he had a lot to do with that. But the real talk, his offensive line was atrocious. What the Colts did after Manning left, in my estimation, they spent more time trying to upgrade his skill positions, if you would, than they did on the offensive lines, which is where they should have started. If you got a franchise quarterback, your first order of business is not to get him a wide receiver or a running back or a tight end or any of that. It's to put an iron fence in front of him, especially when you have a quarterback like Luck, who is not the mobile or the guy who runs. He's not the Aaron Rodgers, if you would, or a Lamar Jackson, a guy who doesn't really move out of the pocket like Elway used to or Steve Young used to. You got to put an iron fence around him. So I'm with you to a degree on the Luck thing, but I'm also saying we cannot omit or we'd be remiss to not mention that his O-line stunk up the joint. Now, I'm going to let my co-host weigh in on that a bit, if he agrees with me or disagrees with me or agrees with you or not, whatnot, but I'm going to let Double J have a say here. Double J, weigh in on that.
Yeah.
Well, first and foremost, Witten doesn't belong in that conversation with some of the other NFL greats that were mentioned there, because you talked about what accomplishments that had been done, and maybe other than his individual accomplishments, team accomplishments.
But he was an integral. But he
wasn't a laundry list.
Yeah, but he was an integral part of the Cowboys. Whatever, when they were, you know what I mean, when he was there or whatnot, and the success that they had, right? Or whatever success.
Well, what does
they
that
had.
mean? That means he was a starter. Is that what we're going with? Because otherwise, there wasn't a whole lot there.
Okay, well, that's fair. I guess you could say that too. But I mean, he was better than Dallas Clark. I'm just saying. Yeah, Joe, you gotta forgive me, man. My co-hosts, they go hard sometimes. They do. But I like Witten, I do. But apparently, Double J does not.
Hey, you know what? The funny thing is, he's the reason why they made playoffs when they did make the playoffs. If you look at his stats, the key thing is that Witten is not an athletic tight end. He just gets open. He's always open. And if you see. And that's the thing is, he's not the fastest guy. He knows where to find the pocket.
Hold on 1 second, Joe. Hold on 1 second. Double J, do you agree with that part? Witten gets open, quote unquote.
Well, I certainly would agree that he wasn't an athletic tight end. But let me ask you this:
That's not what I asked you.
Traditionally,
that's not what I asked
thrive?
you.
Tight ends generally thrive in systems in which these are check down guys. These are not your tight end is never your first option.
What?
So let's start there.
Oh,
and
my
so your
God.
tight end is
yeah. You talk about Tom Brady. Who was his first option?
Gronk.
Who was New Orleans' first option?
Yeah, but why was Gronk was was a freak of nature. Let's not never compare Gronk with Witten here. Other than the fact that maybe they retired a little bit too early.
No, Double J. See, no. Here's what you're doing now. You're misconstruing. I don't think that he's comparing the two literally. What he's saying is, was Witten one of Romo's first options? Was Witten Romo's first option for the most part?
Exactly.
As was Gronk for Tom Brady. He's not saying Witten was Gronk. He's saying first option. Let's operate on first option only.
Yeah, there you go. See, that's what I'm talking about.
You're
Just
saying
like
that he was his first option over T.O., over Terrell Owens?
Well, no, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, no, no. Now, see, I wouldn't say that. No, I wouldn't say that. But he was a. I'll say this. Jason Witten was a key component to Romo. Not maybe as was T.O.
This way.
Go ahead, Joe.
Jerry will pay the people he feels that are needed. That's Jerry's world.
Yeah.
Now Jerry will fairly tell you straight out when we really don't need you. And he's proven that time and time again. Look at T.O. Look at the running back that went to Tennessee. What happened? Where's he at now?
Yeah, but
Minnesota's backup?
Yeah, but let me say this to you though, Joe.
We know 2 years. Running backs are 2 years. That's it.
Yeah,
Lamar Miller. He should go to the Lions.
Yeah, but let me tell you this, though,
Well,
Joe.
Lamar Miller's out for season.
Yeah, he is. Lamar Miller's out for the
is
season.
he now?
Yeah, he is.
Wow.
Unfortunately,
Well,
yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah, wow. I mean, not. I'm talking about the San Diego holdout. San Diego.
Melvin Gordon.
Or not the Los Angeles. Yeah, Los Angeles Chargers. That's the wrong name.
That's all right. No,
But
you
yeah.
did. No, San Diego. Because have you ever been to San Diego? It's real nice. I would keep calling them the San Diego Chargers too. But
I know it's hard.
But let me say this though. I think Jerry Jones. Yes, it's Jerry's world. Okay, but I'll go back to 1993, and I think we mentioned this before a time or two on the show. I don't care what, and this is no offense to Cowboys fans. No, none of that. I'm just calling it like I see it. Jerry Jones is a flat-out billionaire fool if he thinks that the Cowboys are going anywhere that Cowboys and Cowboys fans think that they're going without Ezekiel Elliott. Now, here's why I say that. Again, 1993. He did the same crap with Emmitt Smith. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't know who the Cowboys tight end was. Was it at the time? Jay Novacek. Jay Novacek was a dog.
Yeah.
Alvin Harper was a dog. Michael Irvin was the playmaker, and Troy Aikman. Now you had four key components on that Dallas Cowboys team, and then we're not talking. If I'm not mistaken, didn't they have Charles Haley on the defensive side?
Yeah.
Okay.
But let's be honest. Alvin Harper went to Tampa Bay. Nothing after that.
Okay, listen. I can't. That's fine. I'm not denying that. That's true. And but we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys and what Jerry Jones has done before. History repeating itself. At the end of the day, I can't off the top of my head remember every player that the Cowboys had, but they had a nice roster. 2/3 of that roster was nice. But guess what? They had everything on that roster in 1993, the first two games of that season, but Emmitt Smith, and they lost both games badly. Jimmy Johnson went into Jerry Jones and said, look here, you better quit playing and pay that man. And Jerry Jones paid that man. Now, Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
We know Ezekiel Elliott is the name. But again, to me, it's the reason why you got one guy as the starter and one guy that's not the starter. Because every team holds an NFL training camp and OTAs, and they give these guys all the opportunities that you can before a season to unseat a guy. All right? As is the case in Pittsburgh as is the case in Pittsburgh with Le'Veon Bell and James Conner. I like James Conner, but he ain't no Le'Veon Bell, man. It's the reason why Le'Veon Bell was a top 5 at the time. If some people say he's not now, I disagree. But anyway, top 5 running back. I say Ezekiel Elliott is a top 5 running back, period. And we saw not just in Dallas.
Now rate the offensive line for the Cowboys. Where do you see them at? Because remember, you said that about Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck didn't have an offensive line.
Yeah, the Cowboys' offensive line is way better than the Colts. Way better. Way better.
Who's?
The Cowboys' offensive line is way better than the Colts.
Okay, and back when Emmett was the Cowboy, right?
That offensive line was
about Dallas's offensive line. Number one in the whole league. And to this day, I always got to hear people say Barry was a better running back because Cowboys could have put anybody back there and ran.
Well,
Emmett did.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't know about it.
Let's
I don't know about that.
Because this is what I'm going through every day.
No, that is true. Absolutely.
Okay, so
that was a Hall of Fame offensive line, and look at Barry Sanders' highlight reel. While that man was sitting there doing barrel rolls and jumping out at 50 feet.
I get it. He only had Lomas Brown, Barry Sanders did, but that's not what we're talking about. Listen, hold on. Here's what hold on.
Lomas Brown?
Hold it. Listen. Here's what we're not going to do. We're not going to keep changing the narrative. It's about the Dallas Cowboys, and with that offensive line in 1993 being the number one offensive line, it's not a question about whether or not if anybody could have ran behind it or if Barry Sanders could have ran behind it. The question is, Emmitt Smith was not there. in 2 games that season, and they lost both games with a number 1 offensive line, with Alvin Harper, with Troy Aikman, with Michael Irvin, with Jay Novacek, all them other pieces that mean so much more, and I'm not knocking them.
Yeah.
But without
we had
Emmitt
some
Smith,
turmoil, man. We had party. We had what's the name partying too much. He even admitted
that's
that. So
that's
there was
fine.
more to that
That's
story.
fine.
So,
At the end of the day, at the end of the day, Joe,
So-
the Dallas Cowboys lost
Yeah.
2 games, the first 2 games of the 1993 season, with all them other people and without Emmitt Smith. And when they got Emmitt Smith
and
back,
this year,
see, listen, here's what I'm trying to explain to you. If it
this
was
year won't happen.
Okay,
we're going to win our first 2 games.
okay, well, we got to. I mean, that's why they play the games. But I'm saying to you, all I can go off of is facts. Okay, and the fact is, Jerry has been down this road before, and when Jerry was down this road before, how did it work out for him? When he didn't have Emmitt Smith, because if you could put anybody behind that offensive line, then they would have done it. Jimmy Johnson would have said, okay, who was the coach at the time of the Dallas Cowboys? Man, don't worry about Emmitt. Go get me somebody else. Why? Because we got Nate Newton, 2-8. We got the best offensive line in the league probably at the time. Go get anybody. But no, what did Jimmy Johnson say? Hall of Fame coach. What did he say? He said, go sign Emmitt Smith. He didn't say go sign a washed-up Herschel Walker or a washed-up anybody. He didn't go say sign nobody. He said, go get Emmitt Smith, period. And when they signed Emmitt Smith, what happened? They went on to win the Super Bowl. Now
you sound like a Cowboys fan.
No,
I love it.
I know,
So,
I know,
you know what?
I know,
I'll tell you one thing.
I know. Double J just.
how about that?
Yeah, Double J just.
How about that?
Double J just said that.
You,
Yeah.
you get my. Hey,
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. You know what? That's the thing I want to hear because guess what? All my life, all these years, I got to hear about people saying Emmitt was not a great running back. I tell people to this day, Emmitt made the offensive line. He hit that hole so fast. And he hit that hole so fast. It didn't matter if it was 2-8 or anybody opening it up. 'Cause he was there. He was too fast. He had eyes. And his feet were there before his eyes could even catch up.
And do you remember? And Joe, we appreciate the call, man. We got to move on to some other things, man. We appreciate the call, but I'll just say this one last thing. Hold it. I'll say this one last thing to you. Do you remember? I don't know if it was the NFC Championship or divisional round. You know, my age does show itself at times. But I recall that. What game was that when Emmitt separated his shoulder and still ran for 2 million yards in that game against the vaunted Giants that had Lawrence Taylor and Leonard Marshall? And then, So if you can just put anybody back there, then I'm wondering, I'm trying to figure out how come, for the life of me, Jimmy Johnson didn't tell Jerry Jones, go get anybody, because we got a great offensive line. Joe, we appreciate the call, man. Always, man. Thanks. All right, man. You have a good one.
No problem.
Yeah. And we got another caller, actually.
How much was Emmitt Smith asking for those days, and how did it reflect in the cap?
Oh, my gosh, save it. Hold on 1 second. Hold on here. We got to get somebody else here on the line. Hello, caller. Tell us your name and tell us where you're calling from. You're calling the Shop Report. You're here with Barbershop J and Double J. What's going on?
This is Benny, and I'm from Akron, Ohio. You know, calling in, listening to you fellas.
Yeah, what's up? What's up?
The topic.
Yeah, what's up, Benny? I appreciate you calling in. Before you say anything, Benny, let me touch on Double J right there because he's starting some stuff. Because before we went on the air, he said, "Man, you're a Cowboys fan." Yeah, I know the guy wants to talk about your Cowboys, and that guy Joe. I appreciate you calling in too, Joe, from the D as in Detroit, but a Dallas fan nonetheless. And throwing that little tidbit in there because, you know, that's all Double J needed to hear to be, you know, to validate his my Cowboy fandom, so to speak, which is not the case. But Double J, can we leave the salary cap out of it? We're talking about the just for a minute, please. The whole idea of it is the Dallas Cowboys, as they were constructed. I'm only laying out what's in front of me here, okay? Nah, I'm not saying that it will be the case that the Cowboys won't win their first 2. I'm just saying Jerry has been down this road before. All of the variables are the only thing that's different is the calendar year. You got a star running back who's not there, holding out, thinks he deserves more money. That's not for me to say. You got an owner who is the owner now that was the owner then of the Dallas Cowboys, i.e. Jerry Jones. You got a quarterback in question that most people are saying he's not top 5, but maybe top 10. I'm not saying Dak is no Aikman, but you get it. I don't know who the receivers are for the Cowboys, but you got a Super Bowl caliber defense. The Cowboys have a Super Bowl caliber team as they did in 1993. Now, whatever Emmett was asking for, because I did have the numbers at one point in time when we discussed this before, but I don't have them in front of me now. And I could care less about what the cap was, what the cap wasn't, what if he was asking for $10, or Jerry was like, no, I'll give you $9.99. That's fine. What I'm saying to you is the Dallas Cowboys, as they were constructed in 1993, had everything else that you need for a Super Bowl, or all the ingredients in the Super Bowl gumbo, except the main ingredient, in my estimation, which it looked like it turned out to be, and that was Emmitt Smith, because of his impact on this team. Without Emmitt Smith that year, and everything else, hold on. Without Emmitt Smith and having everything else, because at the end of the day, the Cowboys didn't lose just their first game. They lost their first 2 games of that season. The first 2. Funny how they add the one guy, and they go on to win the Super Bowl. Because if the one guy didn't make that big a difference, and you could put anybody behind that offensive line, i.e., or as is the case most people are saying today, then guess what? They should have won the Super Bowl without Emmett. And here's another thing. I'm going to say this again. Jimmy Johnson went into Jerry Jones' office. Excuse me. And he didn't ask him. He didn't plead. He didn't beg. He wasn't hopeful. He told Jerry Jones. Huh? You want me to repeat that? He told him, hey, man, go and sign him now, or I'm out of here.
Let me point this out here.
Okay,
so
do what you do.
Shabani,
let Double J have his say, then you can weigh in. Go ahead, Double J. What'd you say? You're talking nonsense, but go ahead.
So here's the thing. So you want to say, just comparing apples to apples here, if memory serves me correct, both Jason Garrett and Jerry Jones, of course, respectively, were in one way or another affiliated with the Dallas Cowboys during the time that all this took place. Mm-hmm. So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying that the Dallas O-line, which consisted of Hall of Famers, was actually they became Hall of Famers because of Emmitt Smith, as opposed to, and so what I'm understanding now is that Ezekiel Elliott, on the other hand, is quite the opposite in the eyes of Jerry Jones, using your rationale, that anyone can run behind that, hit the current line, and that's why he's refusing to pay him. However, I feel that what this Cowboys team is missing, with Dak Prescott asking for, and we'll go with he's a top 10 quarterback or even a top 5. However, he wants to be paid as the number 1. What's to stop Jerry Jones from making a call to the same Detroit Lions and saying, hey, I see a little bit of Troy Aikman and Matthew Stafford, and $25 million sounds a lot better than $40, and then I can afford to pay. Because, again, if you look at the top-tiered running backs right now, your Todd Gurleys are only making $14 million a year. So you're saying for $40 million, you can just about get yourself an Ezekiel Elliott at that number 1 spot and Matthew Stafford.
Okay, listen.
For the price of a Dak Prescott, and in addition to your Amari Coopers, your Jason Witten's, the best O-line in football, and arguably a top 5 defense,
that's fine. If that's what Jerry decides to do, it is Jerry's world. But I'm not saying don't put words in my mouth now. All I'm saying is Jerry has been down this road before. Whatever you think Zeke's place is in the NFL tiers, that's fine. Whatever you think his place is not, that's fine too. All I'm saying to you is, again, the Dallas Cowboys, as they were constructed in 1993, had everything that they needed to win a Super Bowl, but they didn't have Emmitt Smith. They went into that season in 1993 and lost their first 2 games. It's only a 16-game season in NFL. Being down 0-2 in the hole with expectations of winning it all can be a big deal in the NFL. Then and now. Without Emmitt Smith and...
So let me ask you this then.
Okay.
Because they didn't go without Emmitt Smith and without Troy Aikman, and that would be the case this time around. You're talking about potentially starting week 1 without your starting quarterback and your starting running back, which I don't care who your O-line is. You can't insert Ryan Fitzpatrick and have him go for, 375 and 4 touchdowns.
Well, the same thing could be said for the running back position. You can't just... Oh, my goodness. Shabani, no, you cannot. You can't. No. Sorry. Do you want to get the button?
Yeah,
do you want to get the button? Yeah, let's let Shabani.
I'll average 3.5.
Yeah, got you. I'll average 30,000 yards a season. If Vinny Testaverde can put up 40, I can put up 30. Guaranteed right now with 2 bad knees. Shabani, what say you about all this? I know you're a Vikings fan and all, but you're a football fan first. What say you about all of this?
I say pay Zeke. If you're looking to have a championship chance, start out on a good foot, pay the man, get him starting off the season right.
Okay.
I picked him number 2 in my draft, fantasy.
Okay.
So I want to see him play.
That's what you want. Okay, I get it. So you picked him in the fantasy. That's why you want to see him play, huh? Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. Oh my goodness. I tell you. Well, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, all I'm saying, I'm not again. And we're gonna move on to something else here. I'm not saying that Ezekiel Elliott is Emmitt Smith. Because see, some people, and I'm not saying either of you gentlemen, but some people, you talk to them back and forth, or type to them rather, back and forth on Facebook, or you talk to them at work or whatever it is, and you say one thing, but they hear something else. I'm not one of them people. If I say the dog is green, then I didn't say the big dog that live across the street over Miss Johnson's house is green. That ain't what I said. All I'm saying is just what I said. It ain't one of them what I meant to say and I thought of. No. In 1993, without Emmitt Smith and with everything else, the Dallas Cowboys lost their first 2 games. Now, if Emmitt Smith wasn't that big a deal or not having him wasn't that big a deal, then they shouldn't have lost. Losing 1, okay. But you lose your first 2? And what Jerry do?
Yeah.
He signed the man, didn't he? Okay, and we see what happened. So, in other words, we see what happened with the Cowboys having everything else without Emmitt in their first 2 games, and we seen what happened with the Cowboys having everything else after they signed Emmitt. The rest is history. And I ain't saying the Cowboys this year gonna win it or gonna win the Super Bowl or whatnot, but at the end of the day, if you got all your pieces, your chances are far greater than they would be less than. See what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. All right. Now let's talk about this. Double J, I already know you got something crazy to say a little on down the line. You're just sitting over there mulling it over. But that's okay. I'm ready for you today, Joe. I got me a bottle of water, too. It's going down.
You know what? I'm just glad we're recording live here, and for the world to hear this love affair that you have with the Cowboys.
Stop it. Listen, I'm a football fan first and foremost, okay? I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. Let it be on the record. Now, you ain't Brother Richard. Y'all don't have to invite me to the parade. That's cool because I'll be at the house with my bunny slippers on, which is the best seat in the house anyhow. You understand? But I'm saying this. I'm not a Cowboys fan per se. Now, I grew up watching them because my dad was a Cowboys fan. You know what I'm saying? And I used to love back then. I meant to mention this to Joe when he was on a few minutes ago. Back then, the offensive line and defensive line would huddle before they came to the line of scrimmage. And then the offensive line would get set once they came to the line of scrimmage. Then they would pop up in unison, all 5 guys, even the tight end, if he whatever side he was on, they would pop up and then reset and get back down, which I thought was kind of cool as a kid. I was like, oh, they getting ready to do business. And the Dallas Cowboys went on and took care of business too. I'm just saying, I'm not a Cowboys fan. I am a fan of good football. And I'm telling you, I think if the Cowboys got all 8 pieces, like when we did our NFC East preview, don't be surprised. That's all I'm saying. Because they surprised some folks in 1993, too. Even though it was some expectations, it was a lot of folks with some D expectations. Oh, they ain't going to do jack. Now, I don't know if that was what you call hating back then or not, but, you know, it is what it is, and it was what it was. All right. Something I heard King Griffey Jr. say last night. Now, I don't often watch, it was a Scott Van Pelt. That his name? SVP? Yeah, Scott Van Pelt.
Mm-hmm.
And he had, we were talking about the Dodgers and the Yankees and all the home runs that's being hit lately. And it made me think about something after Griffey said what he said. I'll mention here in a second. Double J, we did the show with Verlander when he mentioned that the balls are being juiced, or something about Major League Baseball is doing something with the ball. So many home runs are being hit now.
That's right.
Yeah, well, Griffey Jr. said, not literally, but what he said, it made me think that it's contrary to what Verlander was trying to suggest or imply. He said, King Griffey Jr., you know, Major League Baseball players are now more infatuated with the long ball, and they're not focused on getting guys on base. Could that be why there's such an increase in home runs? Because guys go up to the plate looking to send 1 yard instead of, you know, and he mentioned Griffey Jr. did. He said, man, I used to love, Ricky Henderson, Ricky Henderson, he set the table, so when I came up, him per se, when the guy come up behind Ricky Henderson on the plate, he's saying, I'm just trying to put the ball in play to try to get him in, as opposed to trying to swing one over the fence, or, put one over the fence or whatnot. So I think that the focus has been on the long ball. That's why you see so much of it, as opposed to, and I agree with Griffey here, guys who come up to bat trying to put the ball in play or to get on base, to get runners in. Because in other words, he's saying, I believe, that the game is not being manufactured, or runs are not being manufactured anymore. It's all, who's in the top 5 in home runs, team home runs or whatnot. So what do you say to that, Double J?
I actually disagree with him, simply because it's not you and I going out there and playing backyard baseball. You still have these pitchers that are not throwing right down the middle and calling it out ahead of time, giving you a heads up. Additionally, these hitters just simply haven't gotten that much better post-steroid era. So to imply that it's simply a change of philosophy or focus from the players themselves, and say that there was a whole systematical change from organizationally top down, that we are only going to focus on home runs as a franchise, just sounds a little extreme to me.
All right, that's fair. If you're up and around, you're out and about, and you want to give us a shout, the number to call is area code 267-687-0026. That number again is area code 267-687-0026. I'm thinking faster than I can talk, or talking faster than I can think. I don't know how that's going. Shabani, you want to weigh in on that?
Well, I don't really follow baseball until, it's
to the playoffs
push.
Yeah.
But what I think Major League Baseball, the issue really is that they're trying to entertain the fans more so than ever. Because constantly I'm hearing on the radio, there being talk of them trying to market their players more so than the game itself. And so I think maybe that perspective across the league is what's getting guys to think, oh man, it's taken away from the nuances of the game, just getting guys in play, things of that nature. So that's just my take. That's just what I'm hearing consistently from guys that talk baseball.
Yeah, and that's a good point.
And to further that point, it is just to give you a little statistical references or points of view here. In the last 3 years, so 2016 through 18, across the board, those 3 years, the mean average from them all is 5,700 home runs. To give you a little bit of context and clarity, the only time that you've seen that many home runs during the steroid era were that would have averaged that, matter of fact, would have never happened during the steroid era. So again, that's you average less than that, less home runs during a steroid era, when you had guys teeing off the Barry Bondses, the Sammy Sosas, the Mark McGuires, and everyone in between, and they, as a league, could not match the numbers of Miguel Cabrera and Mike Trout and Crush Davis and Ryan Braun? Are you kidding me?
All right, that's fair. Yeah. So, in other words, you're saying the balls are being juiced, do you think?
Oh, without a doubt. Because, again, you would see it across the averages of the league for the players as a whole. That, we would change that Mendoza line to 250 instead of 275 or 300. Because these guys simply, if we're talking, we're hitting 25% of the time, but 20 of that 25% is home runs. I just don't believe that.
Yeah, well, that's fair. I don't disagree with that. I mean, too, I think the park design got a lot to do with it too. Left down the left field line is what, 112 feet. I'm being cynical. I'm just saying, it seemed like it. You know what I mean? But,
well, yeah, you bring up a valid point. Look at the. There's a lot of home run friendly ballparks. I mean, that's why Boston implemented the Green Monster. That's why you had someone like Nick Castellanos, who was drafted by the Tigers, and only recently now he's in Wrigley, and he's smashing them left and right. Was very vocal about how Comerica Park was not a hitter-friendly ballpark.
And see, that's what I think.
And so, these guys, are they whining their way into home runs? And is the league understanding that this is chicks dig the long ball, and this is what brings life to our game, so let's get the fans closer to the game, and let's have this ball fly out of the park.
Yeah, joining us on the program here is D. Gully from Columbus, my number one cat on the other side of town. What's up, D. Gully?
How y'all doing today?
It's all good. You joining us here with we got Double J, and we got my man Shabani, one of my co-workers, sports colleagues down at the Pleasant. Hey, you know what, Double J? Let me say this again too, right quick. I think that the construction of parks shouldn't be so hitter friendly. Make it so if a guy hit one out, he got to really get into one to hit one out. You get what I mean? And what's this I'm seeing with the shift now a lot here lately? There's a lot of shifting. The teams are really shifting for players who don't even look like they deserve to have a shift in play. Or is it just me?
I'm not so sure about that.
Go ahead, Gully.
I'm not so sure about that. I think that the American fan base is used to a score being an indicator of how fast or the pace of a game. So by making the game where it's not hitter friendly, it kind of runs, I guess, against of what Americans are used to be able to tell you how a game is progressing. I think that's one of the reasons why a game like soccer isn't taking hold as fast as it should have as fast as it should have in America as it is in the world stage. Now, hockey is an exception because, by and large, because there's a shorter field of play compared to another low-scoring sport like baseball, there's still a whole lot of action. I mean, hockey is kind of like the pacing and the scoring and the drama that you would get from baseball or soccer, but then you get some of that NFL-type collision and physicality in the sport. So that keeps people's attention.
Well, you also get
a ballpark wider.
You also get in hockey, they stop for a good 15, 20 minutes and let everybody swing on each other. You know what I'm saying? The refs stand there and be like, okay,
exactly.
Bobby, that's enough. No, hit him with the left hook. No, man, I said uppercut. I'm like, what? Dude, why you ain't blowing the whistle? Well, go ahead. What you saying about parks?
Yeah, I just think that maybe the parks, I would like to see more standardization with the parks, though. I think that it's pretty weird and kind of wild how some parks are configured where you have certain things in one part that you don't have in another. I think some more standardization would be helpful, but to make a park where it's hitter friendly isn't necessarily a bad thing for the sport of baseball.
I think so too. All right, moving on. I wanted to talk this whole Dwight Howard going back to the Lakers again. But I think we will slide on over a little bit. We'll definitely get to it here, but I want to mention this Andrew Luck thing, man, because that seems to be like on the forefront of everybody's mind, discussion. a lot of people, surprisingly to me, are not happy with Andrew Luck. And in particular, as my man Shabani pointed out, for his reasons for wanting Zeke to play, so to speak, and this is no knock against him, you, or anybody else, but we've had this conversation before. Of course, Andrew Luck announced his retirement suddenly. And a lot of fans are not happy, I said, because they play fantasy football. And, hey, I get it. I played fantasy football. I don't anymore, but I did. I get it. And when it first kind of was really on the scene, I was like, oh, I was into it. But at the end of the day, man, I'm just saying, to me, it's a crapshoot because of the injury factor. I'm surprised. I'm amazed at how many guys in the NFL get through a season. I really am. And with Luck announcing his retirement, the things that are being said about him, are to me beyond crass, ignorant, indignant. And don't get it twisted. When he was playing, I was one of the first ones to be like, man, when Joe was on a little earlier, man, I don't want to hear nothing about no guy in a comeback when he threw the 4 interceptions and he the reason why they had to come back. But when a guy decides to retire or stop taking a beating, I want to read to you all something that he said. And I couldn't, when I say I agree with it 100,000% on why he did it, and the thing that really got me, there was a lot of folks calling him a coward. And, Double J and Gully, well, before Double J, before he even got, joined us here on the program, me and Gully used to go way back. We used to have this conversation about why, when it comes to football, I'm so adamant when it comes, and, when people talk about it and they dismiss the injury factor. Oh, he can't stay on the field. Oh, he stay hurt. I said, man, these dudes ain't playing badminton, man. How can you be dismissive when you say that and not even give thought to the nature or the occupational hazards? We talk about contracts and what a guy is and what a guy ain't worth. That's disrespectful to me. Go back to Darryl Stingley, the wide receiver for the Patriots, way back when Jack Tatum was still playing. You think he would have loved to have a $35, $45, $50 million contract back then? Of course. Because after the player is done taking a beating and the fans, and look, who's there for them then? Let me read to you what Andrew Luck said. There's nothing cowardly about being able to be around for your wife and kids and family for the next 50 years. There's nothing cowardly about preserving your brain and your knees and your bones so that you can fully participate in that life. There's nothing cowardly about choosing mental health above the applause of complete strangers. And I might add, those strangers who don't see the person or player in the uniform. There's nothing cowardly about declaring yourself worth more than the money to be made. End quote. Disagree with him? How? I told you all, even before I met Herman Arvey, the guy that was on the show a few weeks ago, the guy who I'm in constant conversation with when I'm not hosting a show or when we're not on live. Talk about CTE. I went to his house to watch the Super Bowl, the Saints and the Colts. And it was the first time, man, when I sat down in the couch he had, it was the first time I really looked at his hands. I'm surprised this guy could even hold a coffee cup, man. And here it is, this dude saying, now, do I have I won't say issue, but the timing, you see what I'm saying? And I get the fans who are real fans saying, oh, man, I get it. The timing could have been a little bit better. You see what I mean? But I think he was really fighting with, maybe trying to play it off, try to get through a season and whatnot. You know what I mean? I do take a little bit of issue with the timing of the announcement. But the announcement itself, I have no problem with it. None. Man, I cannot tell y'all, man. I looked at Herm's fingers, man, and I cringed. Lightweight lost my appetite, man. And I had known this dude for months and months and months before that invite to his house. But I never looked at his hands, man. And I'm telling you a time or two, and he's not going to be mad at me for telling y'all this. I've been on the phone with this dude, man, and he like, man, what was I saying? It's real, man. It's real. Fans and folk need to really start separating the person from the uniform or vice versa, or understand that the fantasy got to stop lightweight being a reality when it come to this thing. I'm glad he got out when he did. Jim Brown did it. Barry Sanders did it, and any other player that did it. And for all those players that didn't do it, ask them if they wish they had her. You got to truly love that sport right there, man, to play it at that level.
Jim McMahon.
Yeah. Jim McMahon. And then the former what's the running back here that just came out and said something about, man, I need y'all to deal with my brain. I can't deal with my brain. Look, I know we don't know. Not everybody can say that they know a player, former NFL player, former NBA player, whatever the case may be. I get it. And I ain't saying it like I'm all that or nothing. What I am saying is, even before I met her, man, I saw the person, my man Eric Turner, may he rest in peace. Don Rodgers for the Browns. You know what I'm saying? These dudes is people too, man. And folks need to defend them. You know, you burning jerseys and all that kind of stuff. Man, that's idiotic to me, man. That's just idiotic to me. But at the end of the day, I'm cool with what he did, and I really appreciate him saying that, man, because that hit home for me. Now it might not hit, a lot of folks that had Andrew Luck in their fantasy league. They mad right now. Okay, why? Because you ain't gonna get the fantasy points. It's fantasy, man. It's fantasy. I get it. It's for fun. But guess what? When it's done, go get up and feed your kids, because it's also perspective. A matter of. Double J, how you say?
I like the.
Okay, Gully, go ahead, Gully.
Something I want to point out. Oh, go ahead, Gully.
Yeah, go ahead, Gully.
Okay, I like to say real quick, and I'll be brief. Thank you for giving me the time.
Hold it. Actually, let me mention this one last thing he said too. Andrew Luck did. He said injuries robbed me of playing the game I love. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I think, and justifiably so, I think Andrew Luck is being more articulate and more in detail about the nature of why he decided to retire. I don't even want to say quit. I'm going to say retire, because I think it's all about timing. I don't know that he would have struck such a tone if certain things didn't happen. For example, my first thought when I heard about the incident, not being away from social media and all on the weekend, my first thought when I heard about the incident was that, how crass and cruel the fans are by booing them. But then immediately I got to thinking, like, how are the fans in their capacity to boo a player's announcement? Like when Calvin Johnson retired, fans were not in an arena to boo. Like, how did that happen? I feel like it's very suspect that an announcement about a player's retirement happens to hit social media during a game or during during the game, whether it be preseason or regular season, while that player's sitting down. I feel like there is something in the water to try to make him look bad. I don't know who, I don't know why, I don't know what, but I found that to put the fans in a position where they could either cheer or boo was very suspect to me for such an announcement.
I was going there next.
If it had been, if he had done it, if it had been done correctly, there may have been a press conference where he would have announced it, and their fans would not have had the opportunity to cheer or boo. You still get the same vitriol that you would, but I don't think it would have been as crushing and as agitating as it was for him to hear people booing him for making the decision that they all make when they decide to retire from their jobs or leave the companies that they're with because of the strenuous labor and being unappreciated.
Yeah, and then too, he said it bothered him. He did say it bothered him. Shabani, is that you? You weighing in?
No. To touch on that, to address that direct point, the initial release by Adam Schefter did state that the press conference was scheduled for the next day, for the following day, for Sunday. But again, because of the leak and the timing of that leak. Now, I'm gonna say this. This isn't being said nearly enough. So, I got a few points I want to make here. First and foremost, Ryan Grigson, and this pains me because Ryan Grigson's a Purdue alumni like myself. Ryan Grigson is someone that was the general manager of, so he overseen Jim Irsay, the owner, put this man in charge for 4 years.
So is he the leak?
Grigson was also hailed the executive of the year in 2012 because of the draft of the same Andrew Luck and also T.Y. Hilton. I'm going to tell you this. If you have a once-in-a-lifetime quarterback and talent, a rookie, there's a reason why most rookies in this league do not start day one, because they need to get the reps in. And additionally, these teams, these franchises and managers understand that first and foremost, you protect your asset. Ryan Grigson failed him. Jim Irsay failed him.
Mm-hmm.
From 2012 to 2015, Ryan Grigson drafted 3 offensive linemen before round 7. Now, you tell me, does that sound like you're trying to protect your asset?
No.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
He said to go and build a defense instead of protecting my quarterback.
Mm-hmm. When it's a quarterback-driven league. It's a quarterback-driven league.
You're talking about the same quarterback that was sacked 41 times in 2016. He played this game. This is 1 year after playing with a lacerated kidney, and you can't put a line around him?
Yeah. Yeah.
And people want to boo?
Yeah.
Because this man has a head on his shoulders? Think about this. This guy, and I encourage everyone, the listeners, even the panel, to go back and find the interview where someone followed Andrew Luck for a day. That kid could not stop talking about while he was at Stanford how bad he wanted to play football. This is a kid that stayed one more year in school when he could have been the number 1 pick.
Yep.
Because he's got a great head on his shoulders, one of the most intelligent human beings you'll ever meet.
Yep.
This guy was hit 118 times minimum each season over 4 years between 2012 and 2016.
Yep.
Over 118 times.
Yeah.
By people that are paid to take your head off.
Yeah.
9 offensive linemen, only 2 are still in the league today. 2.
Yep.
So you tell me and they want to say good on the Colts for letting them keep the $24 million. You know what that is? That the golden parachute, if you will.
Yeah.
That is a CYA on behalf of the Colts because they should be sued for malpractice.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree 100,000%. Yeah. Yeah, Shabani, go ahead and have your say, man. You know, you've been sitting there in the wings, taking it all in. What say you?
Yeah. Hey, great decision for him, you know. Took control of his life. He going through the pain. He had enough. Hey, I'm out.
Yeah.
No problem with it.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting?
Simple as no.
Yeah, what's interesting, and again, I'm not saying that in layman's terms, let me say it that way. The guy who goes and works a 9 to 5. You know, when you fill out an application for a job, and I know this is not the NFL, we're just talking about having a job and just the basics here. You know, when you go to fill an application out, they let you know right then and there you are an at-will employee. You can get up and leave whenever you feel like it, just like they can get up and let you go whenever they feel like it. And we've seen teams do it 1,000 times. And for the most part, 2/3 of the fans, if not 5/3 of the fans, be all on the side of the ownership. He's a bum anyway. He ain't got the best, blah, 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 blah. That dude said, you know what? I'm out. And he get to keep the dough. I ain't mad at you, bro. Now, sometimes, like I said, you know, I was wondering, like, why he make that throw? You know what I'm trying to tell you? But this move right here is separate from all of the rest. I'm telling you, man, when I read what he just said, man, it hit home. It just hit home. It hit home. Ain't nothing cowardly, man, about wanting to be able to play with your kids, man. All of the things as people that makes us human on a day-to-day basis, all them folks that watch football makes us human. We would love to be able to have the comforts and be able to do and so on and so forth. But then this guy, cause he ain't on our fantasy team no more. We man, that's man. I'm so tired of grown. Excuse my French fries. I'm so tired of grown ass juveniles and they thought process. Bass Ackward. If you don't get you some perspective in your life, you're gonna be through out here.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Gully.
Doesn't this action by Andrew Luck sort of, if for lack of a better word, vindicate? Doesn't it validate Le'Veon Bell's position?
Of course.
That he had been arguing for.
Yes.
Until his release, because here's the thing: it's for the people that, especially for those who are, I would say, rather oxymoronic in applauding Andrew Luck for making this decision, while still holding Le'Veon Bell and maybe Ezekiel Elliott in some sort of contempt for their reasons for holding out. Le'Veon Bell basically said, I want to get paid as much as I can while I can still do it, and I'm still doing it because this window of opportunity don't last long, especially for a running back, because they the ones they always get hit. You follow what I'm saying?
Yep.
They always
Absolutely.
get hit.
Yep.
So by him doing that,
stands for not for long.
Yeah, right.
Yes, it
not
does.
for long. Yeah, but you know what's interesting? I find interesting, and sometimes I don't say nothing. But Shabani knows, because I'm down at the job, man. We go back and forth on the sports talk, and you can just about find me going back and forth with sports talk with anybody. But sometimes I just sit back and listen to the folks who mention, about Le'Veon Bell. Them same folk who was working at Popeyes, and no, we're not about to talk about chicken sandwiches for $8.75 an hour. But you want to talk about he ain't worth it. What you doing? You ain't got no right to say nothing. Shut your mouth. Matter of fact, go stand in the corner and put your nose in it. Before I get me some baby powder and get to slapping folks up in here. You walking down the street all caked up on the face or something. What you mean he ain't worth it? Says who?
You know what
Go ahead, Double J.
Something I want to point out is I think this is going to start a trend. Not a trend. I think this is going the impact, the ripple effect of what Andrew Luck did. Again, you've seen it now. This is the second time over 5 years. Before Andrew Luck was Calvin Johnson. Before Calvin Johnson, again, most notably, was Barry Sanders.
Yep.
And there were, and then of course you can add Rob Gronkowski onto that list as well.
But you know what? Hold that thought. Two things.
This
One,
was not unknown.
Hold that thought.
Because
hold that thought. Two things. One, from my understanding, Barry Sanders said the reason he retired, because we got to throw that out there too, because he didn't want to break the single season? No, not the single season. Something, I think Jim Brown's all-time record. Some yardage record thing. He said he didn't want to do it.
It was Walter Payton's record.
Payton. Was it Walter Payton's? Yeah, he said he didn't want to do it, or I think it was Jim Brown's, man, if I'm not mistaken. But I know it was something to that effect. And then for the Gronkowski thing, he too said the injuries. He spoke to the injuries and what they do, the toll that they took on him. But you know what, though? Here's the killer part that people are they're not fathoming, if I can say that like that. It's what the injuries take the physical toll, but then the physical toll lends itself to the mental toll. Look.
You have to understand that a lot of these guys, you've been playing this game since you're 8 years old.
Hello?
In many respects, not everyone has. Yes.
Go ahead. Finish.
Yeah. Not everyone has the head on their shoulders that Andrew Luck has. This guy's going to be an architect. So a lot of these folks, you have to take the decision away from them, which is unfortunate. Now, if you look at what Gronkowski said, in addition to that, this is as of today. He may come back. However, he said this is the first time he has been pain-free since he can remember. And he did accredit it to CBD products, but again, at the moment, what is attributed to the regeneration of his health, of his physical well-being, is actually on the NFL's banned substances.
Wow.
So if you don't see things that are backwards here, and you don't understand,
Yeah.
if you're one of those fantasy players, I'm a fantasy player, but I understand the human element of this. I've been next to these guys. I've had this, to hear the stories of Brian Urlacher getting shots in his back so he's completely numb before entering a field.
Yeah. Shannon Sharp said the same thing.
Watching the
Shannon Sharp said the same thing, and I do not 99.9% of the stuff that come out of his mouth, I am not in agreement with. But I just happened to catch him and Skip, and when he was talking about Andrew Luck, he said, Skip, I had to get shot up in my ankle. He said, then you come back the next season, now it's my knee. Now I got to get shot up in my ankle and my knee. And it seemed like you never get a respite from it, but you expected to play at a high level. Meanwhile, the guy sitting up in row 14, section 309, had 12 beers like, you ain't. Yeah, okay. And you know what? And I'm going to let you finish your thought, Double J. Let me add this in right here before my senility kick in. I want to talk about rehab. That's what people fail to really understand here, okay? I ruptured both knees, tore the tendons completely away from the bone. The injuries themselves hurt in the moment, hurt like the dickens. But the rehab, oh my gosh. Are you kidding? And here's really the part that really drives me nuts. I did both injuries. They were 10 years apart. Man, you couldn't keep me off no basketball court when I was coming up. I played basketball everywhere. Fisher-Price hoops. It didn't matter. All the way up to the Gorillas. I was hooping, baby. I blew out my left knee. That was the first time I did it. Man, say something to me about basketball. We fighting. I don't care how big you is. I don't care if you're a midget. Oh, excuse me, a little person. We fighting. Did not want to go through the rehab. Man, I did everything I thought cautiously to not. I said, man, I do not. My son's been like, Dad, you come up. No, I'm not. No, no. Because in my mind, I'm like, man, I do not want to do that again. And then 10 years later, showing some kids how to do pick and roll, and little boy running to my other leg from the side, came completely apart. I was like, I'll be doggone. But my point is, I don't care how modern medicine is or it becomes or how advanced technology. All that's fine. I get all of that. But rehab is now what it was then. It's rehab, and it's real. And if you ain't never had the rehab for nothing coming back for something, then trust me, you need to have a seat. Be quiet. Shut your mouth is what I'm really getting at here. Shut your mouth, okay? It is something, and this be the main ones that ain't did. All they did was spraying a pinky toe or something, talking about, ow, and they be sitting out for 2 weeks, ow. He a chump. Oh, save it. Rehab is real, baby. And in his case, as was the case with all NFL players, you get an injury, it's your ankle, now you rehabbing for that. Now it's your knee, you rehabbing for that. Now you got to just rupture spleen. Now you got to your shoulder. Now man, ain't but so much rehab one person can do. Matter of fact, Mark Shreleth, former lineman for the Denver Broncos, you want to know how many surgeries he had on both his knees combined? Hold on while I get my calculator. Come on, man. Some of y'all get a bee sting and be running up and down Maine and talking about call 911. You better excuse my French fries. Go ahead, Double J. My bad. Finish what you were saying.
And that's just the exact same point, that I wanted to make here is that if you listen to 2/3, if you were to poll everyone that is an athlete or was an athlete at one point in time, why their careers came to an end, very few will say, well, I just simply wasn't good enough. I, myself, tore my MCL. I actually played on it because by, circumstantial, my dad thought he didn't believe in modern medicine. So, he called me a wimp. But so I played through it. Ultimately, that was why my playing career ceased to desist with offers on the table. But if you listen to everyone, they will go through one injury, as you mentioned, 2, and you couldn't get you could not be. You had to get pride from that basketball court.
I'm telling you.
And these are the same individuals that said, you know what, bump your quality of life. You were my number 2 pick. Bump your quality of life in getting hit 118 times over 16 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to take this team to a Super Bowl. Where have we gone as a society that we feel the privilege to tell someone else what they can and cannot do and how they should live their lives, especially when it comes to sports?
Mm-hmm. I say that every day, all day. My man Shabani, I appreciate you for calling in, man, and hanging out with us for a minute. I know we got it going on in there back and forth, man. If you're still listening, again, man, I appreciate you calling in. Make sure you keep in tune or stay tuned to us when the next time we're here, and you call back again, man, and I'll catch up with you at the job site. But, yeah, Double J, man, I'm with you every day, all day, man. At the end of the day, kudos to Andrew Luck for doing it on his terms and not fantasy owners' terms. That's all I can say. I was hoping that Shabani had stayed with us because we was getting ready to segue off into the Lakers situation, but, you know, he had to go ahead and go. Maybe this might be him calling back here. Let's see if this is him. Give me a second here, fellas. Oh, and while we at it, if you're up and around, you're out and about, and you want to give us a shout, the number to call is area code 267-687-0026. That number again is area code 267-687-0026. Shabani, is that you?
That's me. I'm back.
Okay, I thought you had left us. You know what? We're getting ready to talk about this L.A. Lakers thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you heard that, right? But, you know, last word on Luck, man. It was all good points, man, all good stuff, fellas. Yeah, I'm with him on that every day, all day. You know, and I wish him all the best moving forward with his life. All right, the Lakers, Dwight Howard. Shabani, you being a Laker fan. Now, I'm going to say something here. This ain't no offense to you or the fact that you're a Laker fan, because I know you was a Laker fan from back when the Lakers and the banners really meant something and so on and so forth. But now, to me, to some degree, it has become somewhat of a sideshow and an arms race, so to speak. That's why I kind of think that they signed Dwight Howard. We probably should have signed Marcin Gortat. Dwight Howard signed what they are calling a summer contract. Now, I've never heard anything like this before. I'm not saying it's the first time. Maybe it's been around before. I just never heard it. It has a $0 salary protection, similar to what Anthony Bennett got, I guess, with the Houston Rockets, and will earn him. It's like a per play basis sort of deal. He gets $14,000. Dwight Howard does. He gets $14,490 for every day he is on the roster. And the per-day clock will start October 21st, 2019. And, of course, this contract is not guaranteed. Let me say this about D. Howard. I don't know what the Lakers think, how he going to help them. I mean, I get it. He was a double-double machine. What was the last team he played for, Gully? The Shanghai Sharks? He was over there with Jimmy Fredette, right? Or was it the Brazilian national team? I don't know. I just know he's been on 28 different teams.
It was Washington.
Oh, okay, right. The Washington Generals. Got you.
The Wizards.
Yeah, the Wizards. That's what they call them, the Generals, not the Wizards. I ain't mad at you. But yeah, all I know is Dwight Howard's, whatever the Lakers' intentions are and plans are for Dwight Howard got different plans. Dwight Howard is simply there to grab other folks' rebounds. You get what I'm trying to tell you? Oh, shit. I shouldn't have said that. My bad. Go ahead, Shabani. You want to say something about the Lakers and Dwight Howard? You think it's a good move or a bad move? Rebounds?
You know, it could be a good move. I personally would have gone with Mo Spate, a guy, a big man that can step out.
Yeah.
Open up the floor for driving lanes, and possibly hit a three, a jump shot, and then he knows how to play his role, and he comes from winning. He understands what it takes to win. So
Got you.
That would have been my personal pick. Dwight, his history has been on the funny side. He's never really elevated his game, and he just wants to have fun, so I don't trust him.
If I was a teammate, I wouldn't trust him either. Double J, you want to say something?
Well, you bring up a number of valid points here, but, you know, let's start at the surface and understand that right now you have two teams you have a player and a team that are both desperate for one another.
Hold that thought. Gully,
I don't know about.
Hold that thought. Gully, when Double J is done with his thought, you go ahead and weigh in, all right?
Will do.
All right, go ahead, finish, Double J.
Yeah, so, again, I do admire the approach that he took by, seeking out Kobe Bryant's approval. Additionally, I will say to a lesser degree that it doesn't hurt when your former agent is the team's general manager. But I don't know about you guys, but when you brought up the word trust, and you're talking about a guy that amid the conversation of just that he was considering or the team was considering signing him, that you had to have guys like Rajon Rondo have private, intimate conversations and emotional conversations from Dwight Howard's perspective about where his head is. And I tell you what, look, we're all adults.
Hold that thought. We got a caller here. Hold on, let me see who's calling. Caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Hey, what's going on? This is RB from Wisconsin, Green Bay, Titletown.
No, just not. You're not from Wisconsin. You're not from Titletown. You just root for a guy who is in Titletown. Just don't get it twisted. RB, what's up, man? We got you and Shabani on the Pro Exam today. If you could kind of eliminate the background noise for me and hold your thought before you weigh in. We're talking about the Dwight Howard and the Lakers situation. Double J, go ahead, finish your thought. Then Gully, you weigh in. Then we'll get to you, RB. Go ahead, Double J.
Yeah, ultimately here, that 14th guaranteed spot will be for Andre Iguodala. It's interesting, but again, I think, right now you are literally trying to cling to any center that has some kind of potential. And this is as desperate as it gets of a move with a guy who's saying at 35 years old, I finally figured it out and I can be the player that everybody wanted me to be. But as you've pointed out time and time again, Father Time is undefeated. So we'll see. They got big expectations for him. I just don't believe he'll be what they're looking for.
All right, Gully.
Well, there's a lot of talk about his head space and where he's at mentally and all. I guess that's a bit concerning, but I do remember that, in one finals appearance that he had, Dwight Howard, he was on a team that was largely built around a certain style of play that he didn't have to participate in. His job was to get baskets, get buckets, and create his own offense.
That ain't all
he's getting. Left alone and he doesn't have to be an integral part of any type of offense, then I think this bodes well for the Lakers.
Whoa. Hold it.
Hold
on. Did you say you don't want to be, if you're a teammate of his, you don't want to be left alone in the room with him? Is that what you said?
No, I'm saying he was left
sorry.
in his own space. Remember, it was one of the things that I remember you and I used to talk about for years with the Orlando Magic, how the Magic's style was all perimeter-oriented, and Dwight Howard was like on the island. There was no offense created for him. He created it for himself. I mean, he was a double-double machine. That's what we keep hearing, right? So imagine a space where all he has to do is pretty much like what Dennis Rodman had to do with the Bulls. Just get extra possessions. That was all his job is. If Dwight Howard is left in a space where you really don't have to create offensive opportunities for him, and all he has to do is clean up, get extra possessions for the offense, get extra possessions for himself, get his own buckets, when and where they come in. He's big enough, he's strong enough, he's solid enough, athletic enough still to be able to do that. I think this is a good acquisition for the Lakers.
Yeah,
Again, those headspace things, especially from a guy like Rondo, that kind of concerns me. But assuming all of that checks out and they start winning, which is really what we're concerned about, that really is a great fit for them.
Yeah, got you. RB, you want to weigh in?
Absolutely. I think it's a great pickup for the Lakers also.
Oh, boy.
I think this is going to put them in the direction of winning the championship with LeBron, AD, Kuzma.
Hold on.
Phenomenal coach.
Hold on.
What's going on?
Hold on. Whatever you having, make mine's a double. He putting him in a great position to do what, man? He still is who he is. His footwork is still terrible.
Right.
You still got to play the games. I don't care who you adding with. Okay, listen. At the end of the day, we looking at this Lakers team.
Look at his body of work.
We looking at this Lakers team with who they have currently as they're constructed, right? Well, let me take you back some years to the Seattle Supersonics. Now, there's some years when they had.
Oh my goodness!
Hold on, because we talking about Sean Kemp in his prime was better than anything the Lakers got right now in their prime at his position. Gary Payton was one of the Hershey Hawkins. The weakest link on that Supersonics team was Eddie Johnson. Now, I'm not comparing them, so don't misconstrue. Not saying this guy is and that guy. All I'm saying to you is, if them guys back then had what they had and could lose as a number 1 seed, you sitting here trying to tell me that Dwight Howard going to the Lakers because they got Kuzma and LeBron load management and everybody else. I don't know. Did I miss the Fountain of Youth or something? Please, somebody tell me.
What year are you talking about with Seattle? What year was that? That was in the 90s?
I don't care what year it was. What year it was ain't got nothing to do.
This 2019, 2020 season.
Okay, but I'm not comparing the
Howard.
years. I'm comparing what the players were and what they impact.
The game has changed.
Man,
different game.
Man, Dwight Howard's footwork is terrible. It's terrible.
And he's playing with one of the all-time greats. He's playing with one of the all-time greats now.
That depends on who you ask.
Dwight Howard's never played with a guy like LeBron.
That depends on who you ask. But listen, okay, that's fine. But here's what I'm saying to you. At the end of the day, I'm just trying to figure out how I'm just trying to figure out where. Are you, and I'm asking everybody on the panel here today, are you the same person and can do the same things today that you could do 10 years ago? Y'all act like ain't no expiration date on these dudes, man. It's an expiration date on everybody.
Point out is, what is this? LeBron?
Well, LeBron James.
They got here.
Hold on, let RB.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying LeBron.
Let RB finish.
He still have his career average after year 17. What if your skill set is limited, but you can still do what that limited skill set is? You can still do with that limited skill set now what you could do back then. It might not be a problem. You got to remember too, you got Anthony Davis down there in the post. So what you're asking for Dwight Howard to do is not lead and anchor your front court.
Oh,
he's going
okay.
To
So
he's going to be.
You asked him to be a garbage man.
What was for him in Orlando.
Oh, you asked him to be. Oh, okay, I got you. You asked him to be a glorified garbage man. I got you. Okay, got it. All right. Well, that's why they still play the game, though, right?
Exactly.
Because if everything is what it was supposed to be, then it wouldn't have been no upsets ever in the history of sports. See, if it's always the guy who is this and who ain't that, or who is this and got everything, if all that was supposed to be and how it always is the case, then we would never have no. Because I remember, and I'm just saying for the sake of, if in other words, y'all trying to paint this picture of what this is, how this is supposed to be, because they got Dwight Howard, then I'm gonna go back to college basketball, more recent than the '96 Supersonics. Man, the Kentucky Wildcats, man, was loaded. And they was 30-0. Who was betting against them winning the championship that year? Was you betting against them, RB?
Absolutely.
You was? You was betting against them?
Absolutely.
You didn't think they was going to win the championship?
No, I'm a North Carolina Tar Heel fan.
Oh, that's why then. Okay, got you. Okay.
Wait, hold on. Your analogy don't apply here, Jay.
No, because I ain't finished it. I didn't finish it.
Dwight Howard. Listen,
I didn't finish it.
If the Lakers are not successful, period. If I think for them it's title or bust. If they don't,
that's
win
exactly
title,
what it is. But how you gonna tell me my analogy?
In addition to Dwight Howard,
how you gonna tell me my analogy is off base and I ain't even finished my analogy? See what I'm saying?
You're telling me they're the odds-on favorite because of Kentucky and who they have in star power. I'm saying the analogy don't apply here. We said
I'm telling you if
I'm to his career that made him like, okay, he went to Washington. Washington had issues last year between John Wall and Bradley Beal. And those issues came to a head. So he played 9 games at a Washington team that wasn't even going to make it past the second round in the East. The year before that, he was in Atlanta.
Okay, well, let me say it this way. Let me say it this way. Let me say it this way.
On a perennial contender.
Let me say it this way.
Perennial contender, it was in Houston.
Let me say it this way, then.
And they ran into the most recent dynasty that we've seen in the NBA, and that was Golden State.
Let me say it this way.
He was doing the
Are you going to let me say it?
Houston,
Are you going to let me say it?
In Charlotte.
Are you going to let me say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Let me say it this way. Let me simplify things. If y'all implying or suggesting that who you got on the roster guarantees something, I'm telling you, it don't guarantee jack. I don't care who you add and who you got. What do that guarantee?
Guarantee, right? There is no guarantee, but it's not. But the idea of it making sense, but it does make sense. I mean, listen, the weather forecast is a forecast. There's a percentage of rain. No matter what, if it's clouds in the sky, it's very likely to say it's raining, right? But if it don't rain, well, the clouds in the sky, you ain't off base for saying that. You're not off base for saying that because it was clouds in the sky. I'm thinking it might rain, and it don't rain. That'll make you totally wrong. I'm saying if you want a guy who's a solid double-double and a sizable force inside of your backcourt to complement the more athletic, well-rounded player, Dwight Howard fits the bill because he's never not been that, at least.
Okay, so
and so you want him to get garbage shots. If you want him to be, put it like this, LeBron James played with a guy like Dwight Howard before. And they went to a few finals with him, and they won one. That was Tristan Thompson. A glorified, like you say, a glorified garbage man. You want a guy who's athletic enough to bang around in the post and get extra possessions for your team or turn around things on the defensive side, who's still athletic enough to do that. Dwight Howard fits the bill. There's a lot of optimism in that to me. Okay. Whether it will win or not, it ain't going to hinge upon the Dwight Howard acquisition.
Got you. So, in other words, if that's the case, then I'm interested to know somebody to tell me. I need that background note. Thank you. I'm interested for somebody to tell me. Please explain to me then why they ain't just sign him to a contract then, if he's such a key component.
Well, again, I'll
Double
cover
J.
that point. I'm not defending the guy here, but that's simply because they're only allowed 14 spots with guaranteed money, and that last spot was what belongs to Andre Iguodala. But, I'm going to point this out here, since we're crowning them with this addition.
That's my point. That's my point. We're crowning them with this addition.
Look, exactly. Now, I'm going to tell you this. 40% of the shots that he defended last season were fewer than 6 feet of the rim.
Hey, hold it.
With that being said.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Yeah, and with that being said, the opponents shot 62%. Dwight Howard averaged a net difference of negative 4.6 compared to anyone in that position's expected accuracy.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying his addition.
You want to talk about?
His addition is not
form rim protector.
He's
trash.
His addition is more so of a wannabe than it is realistically what they expect the Lakers to be. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I know what it looked like, but again, man, you don't get old. You don't get younger when you get older. Dwight Howard's older. Just the only young. Who's the youngest dudes on the Lakers right now? Kuzma and who? Can anybody tell me?
At this point, they traded everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, they got.
Thank you. Now, do that mean that
Frank Vogel?
Yeah, got you. Yeah, Frank Vogel. Yeah, Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel. Yeah. I listen. I'm not saying that they will or that they won't. What I'm saying is, adding Dwight Howard. Now all of a sudden, folks placing bets. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Now, let's not forget here with Anthony Davis. He's more than a big body. He can thrive facing up to the basket
Of
and
course.
further away from the paint.
Of course.
Howard is cemented under the rim. And what does that do to LeBron's game? It handicaps it.
See, you can add for the sake of adding, but are the additions complementary? That's what I want to know. Everybody looking at
He LeBron, he'll make it work. He LeBron, he gonna make it work.
I guess. And that he gonna make it work,
He
baby.
gonna be the point guard anyway. He the point guard anyway. He
But
gonna figure it out.
Hold on, but he always been the point guard. See, because when you say
He gonna figure it out.
you mean what? Holding the ball for 28 seconds on a 24-second shot clock? Because he
When
do
he's
that.
best in the league, he'll figure it
He
out.
do that too. Best in the league.
Whoa.
No, he not
I
the
was
best.
almost with you. You said best in the
He
league.
ain't the best in the
Hold
league,
on.
man.
I think
No,
that's
he
a
ain't.
bridge too far.
He ain't the best in the league.
I don't know that you could call a guy the best in the league. For me, the best in the
Kevin
league.
Durant is out. He the best in the league.
No, you said Kevin Durant. No, you can't call a guy the best two-way player in the league. You can't call a guy the best two-way player in the league, but then somehow not be the best player in the league.
Okay, so hold on.
Yeah, but
Hold on.
What I'm saying, no, that's not what I use. I'm just saying. If you
two-way player.
Hey, hold on.
No,
Hold on.
That's my point, right?
Hey,
the word
hey.
two-way player don't make sense to me because if it.
Hey, I ain't trying to mute nobody here. When I say hold on, I need you to hold on. Okay? All right? I appreciate that. Now here's what I'm saying. Gully, you were saying if the guy is called, first of all, if you're talking about Kawhi Leonard, I want to know this.
Yeah.
Hold on. Before anybody say anything, here's what I want to understand. Okay? Now you can like who you want to like. But I'm curious to know. RB is saying LeBron is the best player in the league. And I'm going to ask him in a second here, based on what? And then on the flip side, I need that background noise out. I don't know what that noise is. Hold on here. Yeah, I think that's RB. But on the flip side, Gully, if you're saying Kawhi is the best two-way player, and he is to make it the case for him to be the best player in the league, right? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay.
My point is the whole idea of
Hold on.
Hold
on. I'm not asking for the explanation just yet. I'm trying to establish something here. You saying two-way player. We have to have a definition of what two-way player is. What does two-way player mean?
Yeah. So a two-way player is capable of making consistently great plays and clutch plays on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball.
Okay, stop right there. Stop right there.
Not only are they
stop
all-ball
right
defenders,
there.
but they make clutch plays.
Stop right there. If the two-way player is the player who plays at a high level consistently on both ends of the floor, RB, how can he not be the best player in the league? RB? I don't know what happened there. But anyway, Double J, you want to take that? No? Maybe? All right, we still here? What's going on? Anybody there?
I'll chime in.
Yeah.
I'll say this. It's an interesting butterfly effect with this Davis-Howard front court. You know, you guys got to see firsthand in Cleveland that James thrives, and he's always thrived with a wing-heavy lineup in spot shooters.
Mm-hmm.
This is not it.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to point out here. That's all I'm trying to point out.
Now hold on. You say he thrived with it, but I don't know that that's the case. I don't know.
Explain yourself.
They did win a NBA Finals.
Finals appearances.
No, because the 2010 through 14 Heat were not made of spot shooters. Dwayne Wade
was Ray
had
Allen?
the slasher.
Who was Chalmers?
Wait, no. Listen, they still no. Chalmers was far from a shooter. That was his problem. Chalmers wasn't a shooter. Chalmers wasn't shooting enough. That was a problem with LeBron James. Him being a better shooter and a better scorer.
He needed a shooter.
One at a
You're saying
time.
No,
One
no,
at a
I
time.
didn't. No. I said when it comes to LeBron James and that Heat team, they were not made of that. If LeBron James had let Chalmers distribute and facilitate the ball, being that LeBron himself was the shooter that he needed, and LeBron himself was the scorer that he was also looking for when Wade was there and when Bosh was there, if he had let Chalmers facilitate the way he's going to allow guys like Rondo to facilitate when they're in the court with the Lakers, he would have thrived. He's been used to having them teams that certain way, and all of his teams were built that way, but he has not had success that way. Understand that when they won in 2016, Kyrie Irving was at that time, he was more consistent of a scorer, of the complementary scorer that he needed, and he also had extra possessions from guys like Tristan Thompson, who just do nothing more than agitate and create offensive possessions. Not a whole lot of spot shooters. If you think about it, he's 3-6 in the finals. All the teams have been made up the same way. Only the teams that had more robust scoring, like the 13 and 12 Heat, like the 16 Cavaliers, are the ones that he won with.
But hold on. But see, here's the killer part.
Oh,
Both of you all.
Because of Kyrie Irving doing what?
Hold on. That's what I'm saying. Hold on.
Making a shot.
Hold on.
You got James Jones, Ray Allen.
Come on, fellas.
This move right here is just Greg Oden all over again.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But look, fellas, come on now. Y'all got to do me a solid here. If y'all hearing me say hold on, I need y'all to hold on, man. All right? I appreciate that. Come on now. Let's bring it up. Let's bring on back. This is good action, no doubt about it. But I need y'all to hold on, so we don't have a traffic jam, so to speak. But at the end of the day, though, both of y'all are right, because what year was it that the Cavs broke a record for most three-pointers in a playoffs or something like that, or in the regular season or something? They were torching the league with Kyle Korver and all that. Yeah, something like that. They were torching. Mm-hmm. So Double J is right in a sense, and so are you, Gully, in a sense. But here's the thing, though. At the end of the day, it's about egos for me. It's too many egos on that squad, man. See, if you look at them last year, because see, everybody want to talk about LeBron's greatness and how he gonna work it out, he gonna this and that. Well, if that's the case, if he is what everybody, and I'm gonna keep going back to it. If he is what everybody say he is, then he should have more than everybody that he's so much better than. But I'll tell you one thing that's about the teams that he on and the teams that he be on and how they constructed that don't nobody mention, that they seem to conveniently leave out when it come to this dude. It's always drama. And the drama don't always lend itself to the end result being a good thing. You feel what I'm saying? I watched him knock Mike Brown's shoulder out of socket darn near, Eric Spoelstra and all of that. Everybody talk about this, but how y'all leaving out that part? Because chemistry, that's important too, ain't it? Or it ain't because we talking about LeBron. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I get it that the dude is talented and all that kind of stuff, but hold on. Is that you, Shabani? Hold on. I get it that the dude is talented and all that kind of stuff, whatever it is, but again, we saw what happened to Colts, and I'm not making no comparisons, so please don't go there. I'm just saying, Father Time is undefeated. He had low management, but yet and still, you're a guy that spends millions of dollars sleeping in hyperbaric chambers on your body, and you still suffer. You had a low management moment. Trust me, the human body is you breaking down, man. You're breaking down. Then on top of that, which I really find interesting, you go to work on your game every summer. But you ain't never worked on your free throw percentage. Where you could really, while everybody talking about in your 28th year, you still that dude and whatever it is, you could really preserve your career if you went to the free throw line more. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm just saying. But go ahead. Who was that? Shabani? You was weighing in?
Yeah. Well, if we're going to talk about drama, that's on every squad in the NBA. It's just LeBron being the megastar that he is, he just gets more attention. I mean, Washington had drama. It was just mentioned Bill and Wall. So it just comes with the territory.
Just to come with the territory. All right, that sounds fair. That's fair. That's fair. But that's right. I forgot too that you're a Lakers fan. So even though you ain't had Shabani, you ain't had a chance to really weigh in on the whole scenario. You know what I'm saying? I got RB still with us, but I need him to drop the background noise. But I'm going to ask you, what do you expect from the Lakers? You being the Laker guy, what do you expect from them this season with the addition of Dwight Howard and such?
Well, I expect them to make a hard push in the playoffs.
Now,
Get back to relevancy. Get back to being relevant. Championship, because we're talking about Dwight Howard, but no one's mentioned the other side of the ball, which is defensively. What are these guys going to do on the defensive side of the ball?
Just getting ready to go there. Go ahead, finish it. Yeah.
Now we're talking a 3-point oriented, West. You're going to have to be able to defend the perimeter. The Golden State, the Houston Rockets.
Yeah.
The maybe not so much. Well, even the Denver Nuggets. So you can't defend the perimeter. 3-point shot and switch in transition and things of that nature. You won't fare too well in the West.
There you go. I appreciate that. No, okay, I can live with that. I'm feeling that. Double J, you want to say something?
I think at this point, I'll let the games play themselves out here because fortunately it's right around the corner.
Yeah, it is October. Old man winter is coming in Cleveland, y'all. I'm here to tell you right now. I saw the geese flying southward. It ain't even September yet. All right, we're going to see if we can get RB back in here. Let him finish his best player situation. Give me a second here. Oh, and if you're up and around, you're out and about, and you want to give us a shout, the number to call is area code 267-687-0026. That number again is area code 267-687-0026. All righty. Oh, I think we lost him. Sorry about that, RB. You had to hit us back. Or was that you? No, Shabana, you still with us. Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how the the Lakers fare now that they got Dwight Howard. You know what I mean? They paying him I just find it interesting that they're paying him on a per game basis or per whatever they calling it. You know what I mean? Because it's almost like they're expecting something bad to happen. Can I say that, Gully? Are they expecting something bad to happen? That's why I said, why you ain't just sign a guy to a contract?
It's a contingency, right? I understand that. There's a contingency, I'd like to know. It'll be worth it to do my research. Guys that have been successful with what I would call like contingent contracts, such like stipulations like these with Dwight Howard. Guys that may have signed to like a 1-year deal, or guys that may have been signed to something lower than what they may have been expecting for the purpose of getting that money later. I'd like to know, historically, if it's been successful. Certainly it is worthy of making note, like you guys are, that he was signed, despite the talent that I still think he is, that he was signed to such a contract, and it's worth noting, but I think it's still a good move for them.
Yeah, I'm going to say to you the same thing I said to RB, if he's still listening. I'll have what you're having and make mine a double. Double J, you want to have the last say on that? Before we move on finally to the NFC West Preview?
I don't know how we can be crowning a guy who's played only a handful of games on, he's become a journeyman over the last 4 or 5 years, and how he's going to be the one of the centerpieces here in the starting front court. I'm not seeing it.
It happened to Ron Harper.
Stop it. I mean, I knew you was getting ready to jump out the plane at 50,000 feet with no parachute.
Oh, really?
I just knew you was getting ready to do that.
Tell me this. Was Ron Harper in 95? Tell me this. Ron Harper's points per game averages from 96 to 98, were they even half of what he averaged when he was a Clipper and a Cavs?
No,
they were not.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Slow down.
He had a different role. He had a different role.
Okay, slow down. I don't know about Ron Harper's points per game, nor do I know Robert Ory's, but I'll tell you what, Jordan himself said that dude was more of a problem for me, Ron Harper, that is, than Joe Dumars. That's all I care about.
when he was playing against them.
Okay,
right?
that's why he went and got him.
The same could be said about LeBron James when it comes to Dwight Howard. Remember,
man, don't disrespect Ron Harper.
The Cavs, man, and they ran into the Magic with Dwight Howard.
I don't care if the lady across the street ran over a squirrel right now. Don't disrespect Ron Harper and mention him in the same breath as Dwight Howard when he be on the bench grabbing rebounds. Stop it. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? This ain't personal.
He was grabbing something on that bench.
Hey,
I don't know if it was rebound.
Hey, it's a family show. We don't want ice cream. You scream ice cream. We all scream for ice cream. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm trying to tell you. If you're up and around, you're out and about, and you want to give us a shout, the number to call is area code 267-687-0026. That number again is area code 267-687-0026. I'm glad when all the fellas get together and we have a nice little round table here. Mm-hmm. We talking about rebounds being snatched off the bench. Man, he about to Dennis Rodman. I just hope you don't wear a dress. Oh my gosh, that could be a mess.
Right. Let me say one last thing about this.
Okay, this is Shabani speaking.
Conversation lends well to what LA likes, which is drama and action and box office and must-see TV from the court side. So Jack Nicholson and family and all the celebrities will come out to see and be just as interested in how this plays out like we are.
But see, you know what?
When it comes to Dwight Howard being signed.
And I'm with you on that, Shabani. But here's the thing. The one thing about the Lakers, and then we'll move on to the NFC West preview. When I was growing up watching the Lakers, they were Showtime. But what made them Showtime, not because they were showing off. They showed up and showed out. This current Lakers squad, man, I would be at the game with sunglasses on, sitting next to Jack. Like, you see this one? You see this one on here? You see what I'm saying? And you've been a Lakers fan for a minute. If I'm wrong, just go ahead and tell me I'm wrong. I'm thick-skinned, man. You know what I'm saying? Shoot. But them Lakers that we grew up watching, them Lakers that went back and forth with Bird and Magic and all of them, and Norm Nixon and all them boys, they were Showtime, not because they were showing off, because they showed up and showed out. Am I wrong? Okay.
You got a point there.
I'm just saying. And I'm hoping the last. Hold on, hold the line there. We got a caller. Hold on, let's see what's happening here. Man, it's jumping today. Caller, can you tell us what your name is and where you're calling from?
Bruce Johnson from Cleveland, Ohio.
Bruce, what's up, man? Oh, snap. Oh,
what's going on?
Oh, we got Big Bruce on. Big Bruce, I know Bruce personally, you all out there, Double J, Gully. Bruce is a Lakers fan. Let me finish this thought right quick, though, Bruce, and then I'll let you weigh in on this whole Dwight Howard situation. All I'm saying is them Lakers that was hoisting them banners back then, you know, I see these Lakers now, like last year, Rondo sitting on one end of the bench away from the team and all that kind of stuff. I didn't see that from them Lakers I grew up watching. And let me repeat, them Lakers back then, they are known as Showtime because they showed up and showed out. They did not show off. Bruce, go ahead, have your say, man.
I agree with you. They got some work to do. They got to come back to be relevant. They done fell off a little bit. As much as yourself, when I was watching back from 79 on, the Lakers were the premier franchise in the league. Everybody wanted to be a Laker. Mm-hmm. You wanted to play for that organization. Mm-hmm. It was a sense of pride, you know?
Now, Bruce, let me stop you right there.
Today.
Do you think that's the case now? It being a sense of pride?
No, they done lost some of that, and they need to get it back.
Thank you.
Guys just figured now it's all about the bag. Mm-hmm. You got to get the bag and show you got some skill and some respect. It's more than just the bag.
I'm glad you called, Bruce. That's all I've been trying to say, at the end of the day. I mean, I see the uniform, but, I'm not going to lie, man. You know what I mean? And I get it, like my man Shabani pointed out, Jack Nicholson, all the stars going to be there and everything. But I see the uniform, but I don't know. I don't get that same, like, oh, snap, the Lakers. You know, when I see this team as opposed to the team I grew up in, it's not an old school thing, really, to tell you the truth. It just was better played back then. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, you ain't even got to look no further than the first Dream Team. When Chuck Daly picked Magic and Jordan to be the team captains. And Magic was like, nah, you know what I'm saying? You can keep Christian Laettner. we don't need him. He can't do nothing here. This is personal. You know what I'm trying? You better get him, Carl. You know what I'm saying? Now you got Dwight Howard talking about something. Let me get some of that. My bad. I ain't gonna do that no more. My fault. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just saying, Bruce. We appreciate you for calling in. Man. Anything else you want to say, right quick, man?
No, I'm just enjoying the show, man, and keep up the good work.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. That's my man, Big Bruce. Long time Laker fan, you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, we will see how this thing play out, man. You know, I still say that, and you know what's interesting? Do anybody, Double J, you ever watch Hardwood Classics, NBA Hardwood Classics?
Absolutely, yes.
Gully, you ever watch NBA Hardwood Classics? No? Probably not. What about you, Shabana? You watch NBA Hardwood Classics?
I watched a few.
Yeah, man. I forget who I was watching yesterday. I think it was either the Bulls and Jazz. It was the Bulls and somebody. It might have been Bulls and Phoenix. They were showing the finals or something or another. I'm sitting here watching the defenders pick up dudes in the backcourt, man. And I'm saying to myself, when we talking about the Lakers here and any other team for the most part in the NBA as it currently is constructed, what team, you mentioned the defense and the points allowed. I mean, what other than the Clippers, who playing defense?
Warriors do.
The Warriors play defense? Yeah, they do. But they down a few.
Absolutely.
They down a few. They down a few. I couldn't even think of nothing to say right
Fair
there.
enough. They do. I think any team that Mike Conley plays on is it has a strong defensive presence, and I think
true.
Him in Utah is definitely going to. They already weren't bad defensively. Utah, at least maybe I don't know. Maybe the stats may prove me not to be true, but I would say with this addition, their emphasis on defense turning into their offense is going to definitely be enhanced. The Denver Nuggets as well, with the Joker. They are. I think teams are starting to understand, especially with again Kawhi Leonard and his 1 year in Toronto and what it did for that franchise, what it did for the NBA. I think is going to lead into a phase of teams refocusing on that side of the ball and using that to turn that into your offense.
Yeah, because, boy, I tell you, it's going to be hard to get in on that perimeter. It's going to be hard to get in on that perimeter. You're going to have to work. And that's all basketball should ever be about. And as Bruce just mentioned a minute ago, too many cats, it's all about the bag, man. Play some defense. Make the other guy, the offensive player, work to get a score. Unlike the Nuggets did, I saw, and I mentioned this before, a couple of years ago, when they let James Harden go from one end of the floor off the inbound to the other end and with the same hand for a game-winning layup. And he passed not only the current Nuggets that was on the floor, but passed some of the old-school Nuggets in attendance, Alex English and Dan. I digress. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he passed Kiki Vandeweghe on the basket.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It was terrible. All right, man, that was some good stuff right there. Shabana, you still with us for this last portion of the show?
I'm still here.
All right, we getting ready to talk about this NFC West, and this is the last installment of the 2019 upcoming NFL season. Or did I say the 2019 NFL upcoming season? However you want to say that. We already know the season is about a week away and some change. I was actually going to discuss college football, the top 25 surprises, as I like to mention. I mean, not mention, but as I had, after I did some research and saw, wow, it was a couple of teams on there y'all might have been surprised by where they were ranked and so on and so forth. But seeing how the college season had already started and my Canes took an L to number 8 Florida, that defensive line for Florida is my gosh. And I see the whole evidence of being a true freshman. My goodness. But anyway, I'm liking what the Canes will be. We coming back. Yes, we coming back. There's going to be a resurgence in the near future for my Miami Hurricanes. I got 2 words for anybody got something smart to say. Ed Reed. Anyway, Double J, we'll start with you right
he
here.
didn't suit up last Saturday.
I don't care if he
should have suited up last
I
Saturday.
knew you was going to say something. That's D Gully, all the people out there. For all the people out there listening, that's D Gully.
Right.
If you want his license plates, I will gladly give it to you in case you want to throw some silly strings or something. Or put some
You're talking past, we're talking present.
Okay, gotcha. I got a present for all of y'all. Ed Reed. Okay. This first one
Sounds
is
like a Canes and Cowboy fan. Always
Hey,
been
but
past
this-
those guys.
But
Yep.
hey, but the stars came out. The Rock was there. I mean, hey,
oh man, y'all
you
really
can feel good about that.
asking for the mute
Yep.
button. Y'all asking for the mute button
And
right
he
now.
didn't
ain't you?
suit up either. He should have suited up either. Could have laid the smackdown on somebody.
Hey,
That-
don't
they
make me-
needed it.
Don't make me hit the mute button for your candy anyway. Double J, this one is for you, man. And this is of course, we're talking the NFC West here, the 49ers. Can Jimmy G, and this is for everybody really, but I'm starting with Double J. Let me say it that way. Can Jimmy G be for the 49ers what he showed flashes of for the Patriots? Now, we had this discussion last week all about, is it the system or is it the stylist? I don't know who getting lace fronts and all of that, or weaves or wigs, or I don't know who what, but can Jimmy G be for the Niners what everybody thought he was in Bill Belichick's system when he went 11-5? Or who was that? No, that was Matt Castle with 11-5, excuse me. What everybody thought he would be in Bill Belichick's system. Can he do that for the Niners, Double J?
Well, I tell you what, even if he could, and I don't believe he's going to be able to, they have some major offensive additions with Deebo Samuel, Jalen Hurd. Then, of course, adding from Atlanta, Tevin Coleman. The offense is going to go through George Kittle. But you're talking about a team that not only ranked 22nd in offense, but they were 28th on defense. And, they spent a lot of money defensively, but the addition of Nick Bosa and Dee Ford and Quan Alexander, I'm telling you, those guys, if they play the way they should, unfortunately, I'm looking at a 7-9 team still.
Yeah, I kind of think so, too. What about you, Shabani? What'd you say? And unfortunately, my man D. Gully had to drop out. He has some things he had to take care of. We appreciate D. Gully for joining us. But go ahead. My bad, Shabani. What'd you say?
Different place. When you do better clearing the slate with this guy and not comparing him to the Patriots and the level of excellence and
Got you.
the way in which they went about their business, because he's in a totally different environment, a team, et cetera, et cetera. So can he do it? Is there a possibility? Sure. Is it likely? No.
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with you all on that. Shabani, I'll stay with you on this one.
And
Go ahead.
and he's in a much tougher division.
You think? Oh, yeah.
Than the New England Patriots.
No, I'm with
the
you.
Jets in Miami.
No.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was my bad. Because when I said you think, I didn't give it thought until after I said you think. And then I thought about it. It was like, yeah, I can't argue with you on that one. But let me stay with you, Shabani. The Rams, are they one-hit wonders? And what's the deal with Goff, and in particular, Gurley?
One-hit wonders, that remains to be seen. I don't feel like it, because their talent hasn't gone anywhere. Can they duplicate it? Combination. I mean, I do believe, I don't have the names, but I do believe they brought in more defensive help.
Okay.
Which just added to a already decent defensive team. So
yeah.
if they kind of balance it out and don't put so much pressure on the offense to win a game, and the defense actually shows up consistently, then they could find themselves right back where they were last year.
I think so too. What about you, Double J? What you say to that?
Well, first and foremost, it starts with the health of Todd Gurley. If he is able to remain on the field, then yes, the Rams go by way of Gurley. You're talking about the second-ranked offense at almost 31 points a game. And then they had an already pretty solid defense, but again, believe it or not, they were only ranked 18th overall. And to Shabani's point there, adding guys like Eric Weddle and Clay Matthews I actually foresee that improving. So I do think they're going to remain balanced, and they arguably may not go 13-3, but they are going to end up in that somewhere in the neighborhood of 11-5 to 12-4.
Yeah, I could see that too. I only asked where they one-hit wonders because I wanted to get what everybody else was thinking, so to get everybody else's thoughts on that. I wouldn't say that they are. They'll be interesting. I'm wondering if McVay's style of play or his offense, if it's one of them things, is it like the run and shoot or the read option, or is it here to stay? You know what I mean? I'm wondering if other teams have kind of caught up with what he does and how he does it or whatnot, and if that'll lend itself to them kind of taking a step back. But I don't see them as being one-hit wonders either. But I'm real interested to see how Gurley and that knee situation turns out, because I think he is a key component. He would have been a key component in that Super Bowl last year. He was having knee issues. Double J, all right. And unfortunately, again, we lost my man Gully. So I got some background noise going on somebody's phone or radio or something like that. But we are in the last portion of the show. I know we went a little long in the tooth here. But are the Seahawks Super Bowl contenders with my man DK Metcalf? And I have to mention here that DK Metcalf comes from good bloodlines. You know, his grandfather was Terry Metcalf to play with the Cardinals, and his uncle was, of course, Cleveland's own Eric Metcalf. So, with DK Metcalf, are the Seahawks Super Bowl contenders? Double J.
Well, I'm going to say no. And again, the biggest, I think they regressed a bit. You guys got Jerron Brown. So again, he made the move from Arizona, and Amara Darboh, who I believe he's a Michigan man, that have looked
Go
okay,
Blue.
but again, defensively, losing Frank Clark, I think, is going to hurt them more. And then additionally, on the offensive side of the ball, despite how dynamic Russell Wilson is, and as you pointed out, how great DK Metcalf can be, I don't know if Ziggy Ansah is going to match that production, being that I've watched that man play for the last 4 or 5 years here in Detroit. And simply put, they look like, unless Pete Carroll can pull a rabbit out of his hat, they don't look like they're any better than a 9-7, 10-16.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not going to count my boy Russ out. I'm glad he got a nice wide receiver now that can really maybe in the combination of him and Metcalf can put up some big numbers. What about you, Shabani? What did you say about the Seahawks?
Well,
I don't think so.
You don't think they Super Bowl contenders?
Nah. They do good to make a playoff.
All right.
Maybe wild card.
Yeah, that's fair. But hey, once you get in the dance, anything goes, right? All right, Double J, this one is back to you. The Cardinals, the Arizona Cardinals. To me, they clearly are a work in progress. And I know preseason is just preseason, but if it means anything, I mean minutely anything at all, is it too early to say Kyler Murray was a wasted pick?
Well, he may have been for this particular season, because I actually believe they're going to go even. It's difficult to say that a 3-13 franchise can go backward, but it kind of appears that they're going to be. I mean, they may not turn out dead last in offense this year, but again, I don't really see them getting much better defensively. If you're putting a lot of stock on Kyler Murray, simply because, again, you got a promising player in Christian Kirk. You still have, and I feel awful to say this, but they're wasting the best years of David Johnson's career. Larry Fitzgerald will always, again, as you point out time and time again, Father Time remains undefeated. They took a couple steps forward defensively with Terrell Suggs, but again, you're talking about in DJ Swearinger coming back, but these are not, they look like a foundation for the future, but certainly a very rough 2019 is in store for these guys.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. What about you, Shabani? What you say about the Cardinals and Kyler Murray? Yeah, they've bottom. You think about maybe another 2 years?
I think they may be victim of not necessarily, and I don't want to discredit Kyler Murray for being a talent, but with the slew of quarterbacks that's going to be coming out in the next 1 or 2 years.
Yeah.
I don't know if they might be second guessing that one. Not as far as talent, but thinking that maybe we could have waited and addressed something else because he's just not going to make them better.
That's
you know what I'm saying? So he's not going to help them progress forward. So maybe they could have addressed another area.
Yeah, that's a very, very interesting point. All right, lastly, fellas, and this is it. We're going to get out of here for the day. Man, this was a good one, man. I really appreciate this one. Double J, who wins this division, the NFC West?
I'm going to stick with the Los Angeles Rams. I think the Seahawks certainly can compete for it. And despite, again, as we pointed out, everything, the strides that San Francisco is making, Jimmy G is simply it's too big of a question mark for me. I don't know if I would take him or Kyler Murray at this stage of it because they both still seem so unproven to me.
Yeah. What about you, Shabani?
Rams.
You think the Rams too?
Barring injury, they're talented enough to, I feel like, win the division, even if they sustain injury to Gurley but because they can plug in and make adjustments as far as the run game.
Yeah.
But if Goff, solidifies his position, moving forward and continue to get better, then they'll be all right in that division. I really don't see the Rams not winning it.
Yeah. And we got RB back. Finally, we got him back. But RB, we almost at the end here, man. I'm just asking everybody, who wins the NFC West? Who wins that division?
Glad to be back. Too much background noise from me, but
it's all good.
Yeah, I'm going with the Rams. It's their division. It's their division to lose. They don't have much competition in the division.
Really?
But the NFC is tough.
Yeah.
No, not much competition in that division. But the NFC is tough though, so they'll probably win the division. But when they get to the playoffs, it's gonna get a little different for them guys because I think last year they snuck up on people. They won't be able to do that this year.
That's a good point.
People don't know how to play them better. I still don't think Goff is a Super Bowl caliber type QB. So you've got to keep an eye on that. I think that defense is a little older. Weddle and Clay Matthews a little long in the tooth. The corners is, a little older. I mean, outside of the defensive line, that you can attack the Rams defense. So it's something to keep an eye on in the playoffs. But as far as the division, it's their division to lose.
Yeah, I'm thinking teams, when they playing them, in the Rams on defense or whatever, they could probably spend more game plan more prior to playing the Rams for Aaron Donald, more so than anybody else on that defense. Not saying that they, again, they don't have other players they can't, get after it, so to speak. But right now, Aaron Donald, or is it Aaron Donald or Donaldson? Donald, he the linchpin.
Aaron Donald.
Yeah, Aaron Donald, he the linchpin on that defense. And, almost like Julius Peppers was a few years back and, Dwight Freeney and them type of guys, you know what I'm saying? You kind of neutralize them, you give yourself a better chance of having some kind of success. But me in particular, before we get out of here, this is the last one, I'm going to say I think the Seahawks are going to win it. I do. They got the experience. I think they still kind of, maybe not literally, but every now and again in their minds revisit that whole not handing the ball off to Marshawn Lynch. Otherwise, we'd be talking about 2 Super Bowls for Russell Wilson in 10 minutes, so to speak, and them Seahawks squad or whatnot. I think their core is still in place, the nucleus or whatnot. I don't discredit or discount the Rams because I do like Sean McVay, and what they got over there. But I think it's going to come down to just those two, the Rams and the Seahawks. And I say, if anything, it's good. You got to at least get 11. You're gonna have to win 11 to win this division.
And who is that?
Well, 10,
let me ask you. Who is Seattle's core?
That coaching staff.
But see, that's my biggest question mark.
Who's the core?
Again, if you,
I'm not so much saying that the players. When I say core, I'm talking about. We always talk about when you have a successful organization, it starts from the top down. They still got most of them cats in place in that front office. You see what I'm saying? That experience goes beyond the field for me. That's all I'm saying. I know they don't have the Legion of Boom no more. I know that what's my man the safety Earl.
Darryl.
Yeah. I know he's not over there no more or whatnot. But as long as they got Russell Wilson,
Sherman.
yeah, and Sherman, yeah,
Sherman.
yeah, Sherman
Lynch.
Sherman was all right to me. He wasn't all. I mean, no
Jimmy
disrespect to
Graham.
him.
Doug Baldwin.
Yeah, Yeah. I'm not saying that the Seahawks are the Patriots by no stretch of the imagination, but they that kind of squad that they seem to, if anybody can figure it out, it's them. You know what I mean? They battle tested. Let me put it that way. Despite not having who all the names that they had, they are battle tested. Out of all the teams in that division, the Seahawks are the most experienced and the most battle tested. So, and I think that will lend itself.
Yeah, but
go ahead.
you're talking about who's running the ball there. Between Penny, you even had some carries, with C.J. Prosite.
All right, so
with the first team.
Okay, so at the end of the day, don't tell nobody. I mean, the cat is out of the bag, I guess. Barbershop J was about to sign a 10-day contract. Man, don't doubt my skills, Double J. That's disrespectful, man. You know what I'm saying? I could suit up and run. I could run red, right, 88 all over again. That's funny to you. Yeah, we about to get on out of here on that note. You know what I'm saying? Fellas, I appreciate y'all for chiming in today, man. It was a real good one. I really didn't know how this one was going to turn out because, my man, Brother Rich, called me. He said, "Oh man," he said, "I've been trying to reach you, man. I got some business to take care of." I said, "All right, well, and I called Double J. I said, well, it's gonna be me and you. You know what I mean?" And sure enough, a couple of other folks showed up to the party. My man Gully had to drop out RB, and Shabani, and of course Double J, Bruce, Joe, all of the folks that called in. Man, I really appreciate y'all for helping me pull this one off. We went a little long in the tooth on this one today, man, and I kind of am enjoying that one, man. So. On that note, it's been fun, but we got to run. We appreciate y'all for listening. Don't forget to check us out right here on the Spreaker.com network. You go to the search box and you type in the Shop Report. Or you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, iTunes. And, of course, via email, the shopreport365@gmail.com. iTunes is now Apple Podcasts, so you can catch us there, too. We're on Spotify as well. YouTube, The Shop Report. And you can go to our Facebook fan page, The Shop Report. Leave us a message. Any topics you all want to discuss or anything, man. Something whether you liked about the show, you didn't like about the show. We always working to get better. And if that don't work, you can Google it. Again, for my guests, Double J, RB, Shabani, D. Gully, my callers, Bruce, Joe, and all those who follow us on social media, we say thank you for your support. I'm Barbershop Jay, and you've been listening to the Shop Report. And remember, the next time y'all want to know what's really going on, man, come to the shop. Walk-ins are always welcome. Holla!